Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Troy Clayton, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Air Force is Sergeant Adam Robinson. We warmly welcome the family of Bombardier Mervyn Victor Taylor, whose story will be told shortly. We are honoured to acknowledge Major General Deeparia Sen, 18th Colonel of the Regiment of the Mechanised Infantry Regiment, Sri Lankan Army. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. The live stream of this ceremony is made possible by the Return and Services League of Australia and the RSL and Services Clubs Association. We welcome members who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by family, visitors to the memorial, and students on behalf of the Prince of Peace Lutheran College visiting from Everton Park, Queensland. If you're able, please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn their loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we'll read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today, we remember and pay tribute to Bombardier Mervyn Victor Taylor. Mervyn Taylor was born in Brisbane on the 26th of May 1919, the son of Donald and Cecilia Taylor. He grew up in Brisbane alongside his brothers Eric, Arthur and Murray. They went on to find employment as a waterside worker with James Patrick and Company. Mervyn had experience of military life, having served in the cadets for 2 years with the 11th Field Brigade. He joined the militia on the 13th of February 1939, marching with the 5th Field Brigade as a bombardier with 105 Battery. With the beginning of the Second World War, Mervyn Taylor joined the 2nd Australian Imperial Force on the 3rd of November 1939 at the age of 20. While Mervyn's younger brother Eric remained with the militia, his older brother Arthur joined Mervyn in becoming part of the newly formed 2nd First Anti-Tank Regiment. The 2nd First formed in November in Queensland and Tasmania before being renamed twice, finally to the 2nd First Anti-Tank Regiment. By March, the regiment consisted of 4 batteries. Entering camp at Liverpool, Mervyn Taylor had some initial health issues, but by the end of April, he was with his unit, promoted to the rank of Bombardier. Assigned to the 6th Division, the regiment was sent to the Middle East, departing Sydney on the 4th of May as part of the 3rd Convoy, carrying troops from the 2nd AIF. En route, the war situation grew worse for the Allies as the Germans invaded France in May. So the convoy carrying the regiment was diverted to the United Kingdom. Travelling by way of Cape Town, he and his regiment arrived in Scotland in mid-June. In July, he attended the School of Artillery at Lark Hill before embarking from Liverpool in mid-November, arriving in the Middle East at the end of 1940. By this time, the 2nd First Anti-Tank was almost at full strength and had received most of its guns and equipment. Arriving in Egypt, the regiment joined the 6th Division, but was not ready to join the first combat actions around Benghazi. Instead, it remained in Egypt until early April, when it deployed to Greece in the anticipation of a German invasion. The Allies' Greek campaign turned out to be ill-planned, disastrous and short. Assisted by British forces, Greece had defeated an earlier Italian invasion attempt. On the 6th of April, German forces attacked Greece and Yugoslavia simultaneously. British Prime Minister Winston Churchill was unable to secure support from Turkey for an Allied Balkan front, and the Australian and New Zealand governments, who were to provide the bulk of the troops, were not involved in the planning of the operation. Allied forces were vastly outnumbered. Some 58,000 men, including 2/3 of the Australian 6th Division, were transported from Africa. Together with the Greek army, they faced 2 German armies. On the first day, the Germans made a devastating air attack on the port of Piraeus. The Allies lost the initiative and never regained it. Yugoslavia capitulated quickly. In Greece, despite successful local fighting from Australian and New Zealand troops, redesignated the Anzac Corps, Allied forces were in retreat within a week. The evacuation began on the 24th of April, with more than 50,000 troops removed over 5 successive nights. A number of small, isolated groups and individual Allied soldiers, cut off from the retreat, were left behind in Greece. Many escaped, largely due to the bravery of the Greek people who assisted them. While Mervyn's brother, Bombardier Arthur Taylor, would survive Greece and go on to return home at war's end, Mervyn would not be so lucky. During the withdrawal, the regiment suffered heavily. Mobile German guns inflicted casualties on the anti-tank gunners. The men were subjected to intense dive bombing and strafing attacks. The regiment's 2-pounder guns proved ineffective against the German armour, and on the night of the 19th of April, a bomb caused casualties in the regimental area. Among the dead was Mervyn Taylor, who died of his wounds on the 20th of April 1941. The next day he was buried where he fell. He was 21 years old. His remains were later reinterred in Faileron War Cemetery, where they lie today under the inscription chosen by his grieving family. Dear son and brother, we lovingly remember. Signed, Mother. His name is also listed on the roller on my left, amongst almost 40,000 Australians who died while serving in the Second World War. His photograph is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Bombardier Mervyn Victor Taylor, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. Lest we forget.
We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub of Gallipoli with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain has thought in his final moments, well, it's over. And in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of the director, staff and volunteers, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today and for your continued support during the memorial's development project. We wish you all a very pleasant evening. Thank you.